You're listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Wepa, what up, man? This is your boy Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders Podcast. And today, we got a dope international creator on the scene, baby. He is a writer. He is the creator of a dope project that is being crowdfunded right now on Zoop. All right. We're going to be blasting this baby with this dope creator. We're going to learn this origin story right now. Let me introduce the one, the only, the incredible Oscar Osorio. Wepa, amigo. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for the introduction.
No worries.
I'm excited to be here.
No, thank you for coming on, brother. So let's start getting into the business, homie. So talk a bit about yourself. Where you from originally? Where you at right now? And what was the first thing in fandom that you ever fell in love with?
Yeah. Well, I'm Oscar. I'm from Peru. I'm currently in Peru. So I've been here reading and collecting for more than 10 years now. And the first thing that I remember grabbing and reading was a comic book. So here we didn't have comic books. They started getting published right around the time that I started to fall in love with that. But before
wait. Oh, God, you're telling me Peru didn't have like comics on the regular until about 10 years ago?
Yeah, and we don't even have comics right now. So there were some books that come from other parts of South America, but here we started getting like published books in 2010s. It was a local newspaper that got the licenses and started publishing some Marvel stuff. Right now we don't have like the single issues. We have like trades, and they like to publish the big books. So yeah, I remember collecting like the single issues back in the 2010s. That lasted for about 5 years. So yeah, and I had the opportunity to travel, and I got more comics in the US, in Canada. But here I remember grabbing the Spider-Man from Straczynski, the Coming Home story. I remember the cover. I remember my dad brought it from a trip. He brought it like a souvenir, like it had a Spider-Man on the cover. He brought me something from, like, had a Pikachu in the cover. So at the time it was like, look at this book. The book looks cool. It has a picture. It has a superhero in there. But I remember that. That's like in the back of my head. And yeah, as I mentioned, it was a couple of years later. They started publishing comic books here. I started reading them. I immediately loved that. And that was around the time that Marvel started with the movies. So it was the birth of the MCU and the comic books that I had from this publisher that I started loving superheroes. And after that, I started collecting. I started going to conventions, and everything in my life was about comic books. Yeah.
Wait, so all right, so you found comics because your dad brought you a comic. I love that, because for me, I still have my first comic, and mommy bought it for me in the airport when we were going to Puerto Rico just to shut me the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, cállate, coño, get algo, mira, coge un librito de ahí, and I saw this cool character. I said, yeah, I like that. So, hey, cógelo. And, you know, and then she don't know what she started. You know, wonderful.
That was on her.
So, did you have a tribe? I mean, you know, being that it was so new, did you have other friends growing up that were like connected with you in this discovery?
Yeah, no, not really. That was the sad part, because here I think in the US it's like more popular. So there's a lot of people that consume comics, like the casual fans that read, like, I read only Spider-Man, I read only Batman, and they read it monthly, and you know that they don't collect, they don't have the big collections like we do, but they read comics. But here it was more of the people that read comics were the ones that were obsessed, like us, totally obsessed, total nerds. So it was hard to find people that could be on that same level. I think that there was a lot of people that loved superheroes and the characters and the series and all of that. But having someone that knew about comics, knew about creators, that was the hard part. So usually it
Oh
was
wow.
me, like I was the one that knew about all this stuff. And I
So but
think,
you were the go-to guy then. You know,
yeah,
this guy
yeah,
knows about comics. That's Kim.
yeah, yeah,
That thing that happened in the movies, did that really happen in the comic? Did
exactly,
you get
exactly.
that question?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. What's next? So what happened in the comics and what's going to
Hey,
happen in the movies? Like,
you know everything just because you read some comics. Like my
yeah,
wife used to ask me, like, I told, oh, that's based on the comic. Oh, really? So what's gonna happen next? Like, oh my god. I mean, sometimes they
yeah,
changed it
yeah,
for the movie. Relax.
yeah, exactly. I feel the same way. It's like I don't work for the studio. I know what they're going to
But coño, they start thinking about you like, hey, don't you want to be a director now? Like, okay, this is what I think is gonna happen.
do. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that was one of the reasons I started writing, because
Okay.
I saw that I had this knowledge. I knew about this stuff. I read a lot about this stuff, and I thought that every time I talked to a friend, like they were saying, "Oh, what are you reading? What's new in comics?" And I talked about them, like the newest comic, the new indie comics, and they were like, "Oh, that sounds so cool." And for me, it was like, then maybe you should read it. So I started writing like reviews and
Cool.
opinions and about these things, and locally people like that. They like to know more about the movies, because sometimes people like the characters and like the movies, but they don't want to read anymore. They just want to
Yeah.
hear like the 1 minute pitch of the story and say, "Oh, that's so cool. That
Right.
sounds awesome. I
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
know what happens
Stay up
next."
to date, right? ¿Qué está pasando? Okay, I'm done. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So what's up with Iron Man? Oh, he's doing this. Okay, moving on. And then yeah, and I started writing that, and that's where I started to like
Wonderful.
writing and expressing my opinion,
So,
creating stuff.
how old were you when you said, okay, I want to write my own stuff? How old were you?
That was in 2018 at
Okay.
approx. So I was 23, because
Okay.
I started with all the comics stuff where I wasn't a kid. I think that I was around 15 years old when I first got into comics. So it wasn't
Hey,
like I was
because I wasn't a kid. At 15, you still a kid. It's all right. Está
yeah,
bien.
but
He trying to be a thug. Yo, I wasn't a kid, bro. Yeah,
no, but I
yeah.
mean, in the US, there's people that are reading their stories like since they were 5 years old, and they started drawing. The first thing they draw was Superman and stuff
No,
like
I
that.
know, I know.
That wasn't the case for me. So
Me
I
neither. You know what I would draw first? Honestly, my shit was drawing the Decepticon symbol, the Autobot symbols,
oh
Voltron. 'Cause I fell in love with robots.
mhm.
Because of Messenger Z. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? That was
yeah,
my
yeah.
shit. As a kid. And then I got introduced to comics later, but like the big robots was my shit. So Voltron I used to draw real nice. That was the only probably shit I could ever draw.
Yeah, yeah, no, I like the stuff at Cartoon Network and all of that,
Nice.
right, when I was a kid. But I discovered superheroes and comics later. I wasn't
Okay.
like a small kid anymore. So when I started writing, I think I was 23. I was writing like the articles and opinions, and then I, with going to conventions and listening to podcasts and
But
everything.
where are these conventions? Because you're saying that comics were new in Peru, right?
Oh
By,
yeah,
by
yeah,
that
yeah.
time, so did the conventions happen fast, or was that also a process? Like, what was your first convention, or what was the first convention in Peru, or did you go outside of Peru?
Yeah, yeah. No, I was going outside. I traveled to the US, so
Oh,
I
okay.
was I was going to San Diego and to New York.
Ah, he
Yeah.
traveled. Oh, epa. He said, wait, so they don't do that in Peru at all? They don't have like comic
Yeah.
conventions or stuff? Or?
There's also local conventions, and they were good. Sometimes I think that the problem here, as what happens in every country in Latin America, is bad organization, and
Ah,
they
okay.
do something
It's not
and
just Latin America. Trust me.
yeah, yeah,
Trust me.
yeah.
There's
That's
shitty
true. That's
shows here in
true.
the States. Trust me.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. But yeah, here, so we had like the organizer. He comes and says, "Oh, we are going to do big conventions and everything." And they do a
Ah,
convention. They bring someone. Next year, they are gone. No one knows what happened to them. And
coño.
someone new comes and they start doing something. And yeah, so there's been conventions here. Um, First they were about comics. They brought some big names in the industry. then that happens in the US too. Like the comic cons are not about comics anymore.
No, it's
So
pop culture as a whole, and that's
yeah,
why they got to take the word Comic Con out of it because it's not a Comic
yeah,
Con. I mean, I
yeah,
do know some actual Comic Cons that really do exist, but unfortunately, they can't use that because someone owns the name.
yeah. So here it's been it's had its up and downs with the whole
Okay,
comic stone. But I've been there. I think that
all
it's
right.
cool to connect with people in here, and sometimes they bring cool people. So
I'm
yeah,
curious.
I that's
I'm
good.
very curious now. What was your very first convention, and how did you feel when you got exposed to it?
So I I travel with my family a lot. So in 2011 we were going to LA just to visit and like vacation, like family vacation. And I started getting into all this stuff, the comic books in 2010. So I discovered that there was this thing called San Diego Comic Con, and I
Okay.
saw that it was close to LA, and my parents were happy with me reading the
Yeah.
books and with my new obsession. So we were like, maybe we should go.
Ooh,
So
wait, they said let's go?
yeah, I think I don't remember
Wepa!
exactly, but I think it was something like
Bro,
a group effort, right? So
that's
I
wonderful. But those are cool parents. Shout out to the Osorio family right there, bro. Wepa!
yeah, yeah. No, yeah, they like this stuff, and I think I got it from somewhere. So they do
Nice.
like this the movies and everything. So we went there, but first time, so we didn't get tickets. I thought it was like we go and buy it in the door,
Oh
it
yeah.
was something.
Oh, see.
But I didn't got tickets. We did something in there. I don't want to get into much detail, but we eventually got our tickets in the convention.
I know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
We got our tickets. It's a long story, but we got them. I got in there. I saw the convention, and it was a dream for me. And
Nice.
at that time, I was like, I saw all this stuff, but I think I wasn't aware of the magnitude of that. Right now, as
Yeah.
someone that's been reading for a long time, a creator, I've known people in the states that haven't even had the chance to attend there. So that was a very like happy
Eye
moment. It
opening.
was yeah, exactly. So it was something like it was huge, but at the time, for me it felt like it was huge, but I think that it had a lot more of meaning moving on in my life. Even in that convention, I met Stan Lee. I
Oh, you
and
got
I
to meet Stander, man. Wepa.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, I have a picture, and it was like my first year doing this. So for me,
Wow.
it was huge. But I think that later I tried to meet him again, and I didn't have the chance, and I'm glad I did. But sometimes I feel like I wasn't aware of what was happening. I was like small. I was new to all of that,
Yeah.
and right now, as a creator, as someone that wants to dedicate his whole life to comics and to creating and to spreading the love, it was a huge moment for me.
That's wonderful. I mean, I seen Stan, but I never got to meet him, like, or stand next to him, or even say, "Hey, Al," you know what I mean? I wish.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So, all right. So talk about finally stepping in to say, okay, I want to create a comic book, but I'm about to bring up the PDF first so people can see how beautiful the project looks before we check out the Zoop. So talk about you finally saying, okay, I'm gonna make something, and how easy is it to do? Coming from Peru.
Yeah, no, I think that there was I don't know the exact moment, but there was a time in this few years that I knew that I was going to become a comic book writer, and it's something that it's like I don't know when, but I'm going to write comic books. I will do it. I need to do it. This my passion. This is what I love. So I need to do it. And last year, well, first before that, I started a Substack page where
Okay.
when all the writers started going to Substack, I created my own. I was active on Twitter. I was becoming more and more connected with the American community, the people that read comics in the US. And I was writing in English. I was writing for them. I started writing something like more technical, more reviews, more opinions instead of something more like casual that I was doing here for the locals. And with my Substack, I wanted to promote it. So last year, I went to San Diego. I did my own 5-page comic book, and I have it. I have it. It was printed. I gave it away to people in there. It was like something of a promotional stuff.
You
But
mean
it
this
also
one?
no, 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 no.
Something
That's
else? Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was like a 5-page short story. It was promotional, but I learned how to make a comic book, and it's really hard. But I saw that it was possible. I thought that with effort and working and organizing a team, it's possible to make a comic book.
Wonderful.
And I started this year. I decided that I wanted to go all in with the comic books. I was working at another job. I got burned out. It was like I felt like I was starting to getting so tired and so like full of anxiety and stuff that I wasn't dedicating time even to write and to read comics. And I knew that that was my passion. So when I felt like my job was getting in the way of doing the things I love because it was so I was under so much pressure, I said no, this isn't going well. I think this is not the way to go. So I'm also on the process of emigrating to Canada.
Oh, you
So
are okay.
yeah, so everything mixed up, and starting this year, I say I'm going to start creating my own comic books. I'm going to work on a portfolio. So when I go to the US to Canada, I go and I have like something big behind me, and I can get
Wonderful.
a more stable job. So right now I'm working on this project, the Never Ending Adventure, the one you showed,
Yeah, this
and
baby
this
right here. So talk
yeah.
about it, man. How did this even start in that brain of yours, bro? What happened?
Yeah, so I think it's part of my story of what I've been telling. I did this career change. I wanted to create comic books, and I wanted to live of my passion. And I think there's this idea that when you start to work on your passion, you're going to be happy. It's like, oh, I'm drawing comic, I'm writing comic books, I'm working on that, and everything is good. If you do what you love, you don't work, and yada yada. So, but the reality is like you go from one type of anxiety to another one because right now you have to deal with the consequence of your decision. Right now you have
Yeah,
to start working on your passion, but you need to make money out of it, and there's a whole new fear of disappointing yourself, disappointing your loved ones, not being good enough, and all of that. So when I started feeling this, and I thought about what my first work should be, that's where I came with this story. It's the story that's the protagonist going through a similar journey as I did. He's a person that went from a corporate job to writing comics, and
you mean
here's his.
corporate? You were doing corporate stuff, bro?
Yeah, yeah, I'm an economist.
An
I,
economist that does
yeah.
comic books. Look at this, guys. Everybody loves comics. You see proof, bro. What the heck? How the hell did you get into an economist journey? And you're a comic book guy. I mean, what the heck?
Yeah,
Wow, I
no,
love this.
no.
This is great.
Yeah, yeah. I went to university. I studied economics. I was working at a auditing and consulting firm,
Check this
and I
out,
was
bro.
doing all the stuff, and then I went into comics. So yeah, this book is about that career change, that change in life, and how you deal with that, like the mental health aspect of it. But also it's told in a fun way. It has action, it has silliness, it has the goofiness of superhero comics. Because if I'm doing this, besides telling my own story, besides showing my love for comics, I wanted to put what I loved about comics. So here you can see it's like the protagonist cracks jokes, and he's going to fight a monster. He's talking to a talking dog. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's fun. It's what I wanted to read. It's yes, but and he's embarking on a quest where he's going to discover how to uh, live off of making comics. So this is like a whole allegory of
So,
someone struggling to live of his passion.
God, is he acting out like Stan Lee was in his head? Over here, is this what this is? He's acting out the next story, or is he just literally in his head this much about creation? Because
Yeah, I think that's one of the aspects of the book, and I think that's something that you start discovering as you go. It's like, is this really happening, or is this all in his head? Or yeah, and
Yeah,
here
because
you
from
can.
here, he goes, wait a minute, let me take a break. I'm like, huh? Muchacho. I started bugging. I said, okay, wait. This guy is bugging. This is so interesting. I am digging it, yo. Digging
Yeah,
it.
because you see that the art style changes, and
Yes.
it's because of that. It's like he has this like mental dispersion. He's so distracted that he starts doing something, and then he gets like a message, and then he starts telling another story. And this is like I wanted to portray something like, and he talks about it in the books. Like he has this undiagnosed ADHD that he can focus on stuff. So he gets like a message, and then he starts telling another story, and then I change the art style to show the readers that this is like he's on a different train of thought. He's moved on to something else, and he's just having this issues focusing on something, and he gets distracted, and then right like you
Okay.
see in that page, like he moved on, like he's now in this dark fantasy tale in a different world. But
Okay.
it's happening like in his head. He's like trying to create something, but then he gets distracted, and then he starts traveling to different places. But all of these places, these side stories, are part of his thoughts. So
I
you
mean,
can you recognize him, you recognize the dog. He's like trying to create something, but his own head gets on his way.
so I mean, what's worse than having writer's block or having his problem? Well, he has too many stories apparently in his head.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. I think that's also something that I wanted to put in the book, and it's something that it's one of the main issues of the book, because as you said, he's trying to get something done, and I think it's
Yeah,
kind
man,
of
it's like too much.
complementary, because he's creating so many stories. He's getting so many ideas and going to so many different worlds to try to get to something, but he's not putting that on the page. And to
Yeah,
create, you need to put that on the
it's like
page.
it's like a mental traffic jam in his head. So many
Yeah,
stories, and that's where the mental comes. Like, okay, which car is gonna move first? Because I don't know what the hell I want to do right now. So I think I'd rather have the writer's block for the moment, just and then deal with so many story ideas that makes me crazy. Because yo, this is insane. I mean, and look at this. He keeps flipping, like you said. He is in the jungle now. He's in the woods. Like, ¿qué está pasando? I mean, what?
yeah, yeah. But what's I think it's like the positive aspect of all of this is that all of these stories come from his head, and when you start having different thoughts, these thoughts mean something. You when you think
Absolutely.
about something, is because there's something in the back of your head troubling you. You are want to do something. It's like even when you dream about something, maybe you're worried, maybe you are anxious. So all of these stories, like he's traveling here, he travels to his past, he's going to revisit a memory, talk to his past self, but all these stories are going to have a meaning during the main story, during his journey as a writer. So everything is going to inform him of what he needs to do, what he wants to do, and that's where all of these stories come to play. And I think that's the something great that this book has, is that you have different art styles, and there's a reason for it. It's not like, oh, we're going to change the art because it looks cool, which it does,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it
I mean,
also
look at that. Coño, you see that shit in your nightmares. Muchacho, I'm running.
yeah. So here it's like it obeys the story. We're moving into a direction where these side stories, these changing art styles, these um, distractions are happening for a reason.
Gotcha. There goes the zoo campaign here, folks. I mean, they got 18 days left. So they need 4,000. Right now at 9:07, folks. I know you're getting your tax returns. Stop bullshit. Make it happen. Make it rain on independent comic. You see that beautiful artwork. Let's start talking about this team that you built. All right. Let me allow them cookies. So talk about the team. I mean, how did you put together a team? How did you even learn how to from a fan to a creator? What did you learn, and how did you build the team?
I think that my best learning experience was like all of these years of just gathering knowledge of how comics work, how to make a comic, even listening to podcasts, listening to creators, in the convention, the panels and all the stuff, you get an idea, a really clear idea of how to create your own comic book, how to make this a reality. So even though I haven't studied something like a course or anything like that, I've gotten the knowledge, and as I mentioned, I created last year my 5 page story. It was kind of a like a trial for me to know if I could create something. And when I got the print version, like 5 pages in a print, and I knew that I was capable of doing it. And now I've like replicated that. And the team, it was like I did the script and then work with the editor, work with him in the last comic I made. And I started looking for people to create these side stories, because I had this clear that I wanted side stories to be different art styles. And with each story, I found a perfect artist for them. There's a medieval story done by Terry Suska, and she's had this medieval style, like this traditional, and it was a perfect fit. Then for the other, the dark fantasy, where he's like in different worlds and with creators and all of that, I got in touch with Mary Landro. She does all this dark fantasy stuff too. She had her own comic coming out, and also
Oh, wait a minute. Wow, she worked on Ozzy Osbourne's Patient Number 9. Whatever. That's a good
yeah,
land.
yeah, and the fit was perfect. And also with Amalas Rosa, she has
From
this
Germany. How
traditional.
does Peru and Germany connect? Check this out. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah, no, that's all the bright side of social media. Like people saying that Twitter is bad, and it
It's
has
not
this.
bad. Don't let, you know who's saying that? People that are getting paid to say that Twitter is bad. That is media disruption at work. I know what it is. I know what they're trying to do because they just want. These are just people that want to be ads. Because people like you and I that use it for a purpose, we have no problem with
Yeah,
it. You know.
yeah, for me it was perfect, because it allowed me to connect. This team is I'm here in Peru. This team has people from Germany, Italy, Canada, and Brazil. And it's all because of social media and getting in touch with them. I showed them the books, and I told them, oh, I want you to do this side story. And they told me, perfect, it fit my style, it fit my times. So let's do it. And after that, I discovered that they were from different countries. That wasn't intentional. But I think it's something that shows that it was a good choice, because each one of them comes from a different country, a different background, and that's why their art styles are different between one another. And it
hmm
makes the book better, because you know that each one of them has different styles that serve a purpose, and it all goes with the story.
No, I'm digging it. I'm digging it, man. So you have an amazing team. You have a whole bunch of different levels to explore. Starting as cheap as $6 if you don't like paper for digital copy, folks. But if you love paper, you want to smell that ink. You could do that starting at $14. And wait a minute, you have a variant on this baby too? What are we talking about here? Who did your variant?
Yeah, yeah. The variant was by Jay Hammond. He's an artist. I think he's from the US.
hmm
And we got in touch, and he's done variants for other indie books, like published indie books. And that was cool. He had this style, like more like it was funny. It was for comedy. So we got that big monster from the first page
Yeah.
into the cover. And
That's some
yeah, it's
freaky shit, bro. I mean, who came
yeah.
up with that? You or the artist? Was it collaborative? What the hell? Did you dream this shit? What's going on here, bro? 'Cause that's creepy, bro.
Yeah, no, I think it was collaborative.
Okay.
But I think it was also, yeah, the artist. I need to see the script of how I describe the monster. But
Okay.
yeah, but I think that was from
He let
Vinicius.
loose.
Vinicius from Brazil.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I need to read the script to see how detailed I was. But for me, that's how the monster looks. So I don't know if it was me or he did like such a great good job, because that's an awesome looking monster with the tentacles and stuff. But
Awesome.
yeah, that's like the perfect what I had in my head. He put it on the page, and that was perfect.
Awesome. I mean, you got many levels. Now, at 27, you got give me the llama. Well, I mean, I want to get the llama. What are we talking
Yeah.
about? You got a llama? What llama meat? What is
Yeah,
this?
no, that's a llama plushie. That's
Pussy. Hey.
a cute llama plushie. I have one here, so let me show it.
Oh, you do? Uh
So
oh.
this
Let's
one
bring
this
that
one
bad
doesn't have
boy.
any clothes on, so
Let me see
sorry
that.
about that.
Oh,
But yeah,
oh,
it's like this
damn.
cute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that shit look real, bro. It look like a mini fucking llama for real. That shit look real. Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
so yeah, it's this cute llama.
Looks nice.
Yeah, it comes with a poncho
A
and with
poncho.
a cute hat. You can see like the picture is kind of small, but um that's the llama. And I wanted
Can't
to
see it.
put something like to showcase the Peruvian identity behind this book. It's like
Yeah.
because I wanted to share and tell people like this is a book from Peru. It's a Peruvian
So,
protagonist,
so you
and
put some. So there's a lot of Peruvian culture, spread throughout the book.
yeah,
Sprinkled,
and
if you
so
will.
not really. I think that I wanted to put because the protagonist is Peruvian, so I wanted to mention like that he's Latino, also like
Uh-huh.
the Latino approach to mental health. I think that's something
See.
important.
Oh
Uh,
hell yeah.
yeah,
Very different than most people. I'll tell you that.
yeah, exactly. So I included some stuff, but it's not like it's not the book is not all about that. So
Okay. Awesome.
yeah, so it's like a
That's
characteristic
awesome. I mean, I
of
want
the
to learn about
protagonist.
Peru, but hey,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get it
So
because I think on that on that plane too. Like, let's focus on the character, not about where he's from. Let's focus
yeah,
on the character.
exactly.
I like
And I
that. I
think
like that a lot.
that yeah, and I think that this story wasn't about uh Latinos, but it was more about like life changing decision
Yeah.
and dealing
A creative
with
person.
that feeling. Yeah, so it
Yeah.
was more about
Going through a
the
journey.
creative side and yeah, the journey of moving to start creating and getting this idea. So it's not like so present in there, but I wanted still to highlight that this book is made by a Peruvian author, and I wanted to put this really clear so people know that this is a book from Peru, and just like me, like I'm far away. There's a lot of other creators far away in many countries that want to share their stories, and I think that's important that we start giving them their own voice. So this book is from Peru. I want to do more work later that maybe showcase the Peruvian aspect and
Nice.
Peruvian stuff. But right now, I wanted to include this. It's like it's traditional. This is a cute llama plushie. The other is a bull sculptor that's traditional here in Peru.
Oh, really?
And
You have a sample of that bad boy or no?
no, that one I don't have that one
Okay.
here with me. But yeah, it's a sculptor. It's hand painted, and it's a great way to have a piece of Peru in your home and also read a cool story. Hopefully.
Excellent. Excellent. And what's this I want to learn from you for a buck 50? What's popping there?
Yeah, so my editor and I had this idea of also adding these like coaching sessions. We have like this.
Okay,
This is a
cool.
coaching session, so for aspiring writers, we can talk. We can give you like some advice. As I said, I've studied a lot of how to create a book, what's important, how to showcase your own voice, and
Excellent.
sharing this like experience, like hands-on experience that I got. And I think it's important to learn from creators because sometimes you can learn a lot from like established people in the industry that have 10 plus years, but their experience isn't as close as someone that's just getting into it, and or people that are like doing campaigns and doing the indie books, because it's like
Yeah.
more they are more like your peers. Sometimes you hear like creators that been doing this like 10 years or 15 years, and their their initial experience was completely different. So this is like a coaching session, so you can learn how to create a project. If you are curious about how to make a comic book, what do you need? If you have this idea, we can talk about it. And I think it's cool. I think it's something that if I had the opportunity like 6 months or 1 year ago, it would be very beneficial to see is it easy, maybe how much will it cost, and you have a lot of questions because it's like you see this book or the comic books, you have like your passion and you say I want to create a comic book, but then you need to figure out how to do it. Is it going to be expensive? How much time? Because this is not like you're doing it and you're having it in 2 months or something like that. It's something that is going
Yeah.
to take a lot of time. It's going to take money. It's going to take dedication. You need to talk to people. You need to gather a team. You need to organize stuff, even market yourself, and all of that is like when you see the book, you see it all done, all beautiful in your shelf, in your house when you read it. You don't know exactly what goes behind all of that. So for aspiring creators, I want to have this like knowledge of how to create a book, how to get into a book. Maybe they have an idea and want to see if it works, if something that we would do different. I think that's a great opportunity for to talk to me and my editor that's also been doing campaigns and works. He has
Wonderful.
published books. So we added that and we also have an editing session that is something more like if you already have your script ready, you can work with him. He's going to
Oh,
help you
nice.
with that.
Oh, that's
And
cheap then. You could get wait, you get the books, some good swag, and you get your project edited by a professional for two beans. I mean, that's crazy, son. I love
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Folks, that's
yeah.
the deal and a half, especially if you have a project. To have somebody really be constructive about your
Yeah,
project.
because for me it was like there was at the start it was of all about do I get an editor or do I not get an editor? And I everywhere everyone told uh, everybody like get an editor if you have a book, listen to an editor. He's not only or at least if he's a good editor and I work with mine so I know he's good, but he's not going to only like check your grammar and everyone. He's going to see the story, he's going to tell you about the story, he's going to tell you is it good, is it bad, how to change it, and all of that. It's going to be like a good chunk of constructive feedback, and I think that's important because of all of this is passion and creation and you are all excited. Maybe you do your stuff and you create your script and you're happy about it. But maybe it needs to change some stuff. It's not you're not going to get it perfect like the first time. And it's always important to talk about someone that's been doing this, that's been creating books, publishing books, that can tell you, oh, this works, this doesn't work, you need to change it, but this is good. So you need that feedback, you need to talk to creators. And that's also why we included the coaching session or the editing
Wonderful.
session. You have this idea, you need to talk to your peers, talk to editors, talk to people that know about this stuff, even if you do, because you do know your stuff. You can be like me, like you have read a lot and everything, but it's always good to talk to other ones, to talk to other people that will tell you, oh, this is good, I like this, or maybe you can change this, like give you suggestions and put everything in perspective because we are always biased towards the stuff that we create. So there's
Of course.
always good to have feedback of someone that is going to be like put the things straight and tell you does it work, does it doesn't work. So I
Right.
think that's good, and I encourage people to, even if it's your first project and you have 1 page, 2 pages, whatever it is, get an editor, talk to people, talk to your peers, share the script, and yeah, even people that are not into comic books, because at the end of the day, they're not going to be the ones that read the book. So
Yep.
it's important to talk to people, read your script, read other people's scripts too, to see how they do their work. Yeah, it's something that needs a lot of dedication, a lot of time, even before creating the book or having the art ready, like a lot of learning and reading and exchanging ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I was gonna ask one of those questions of what advice you give, but you've been giving dope advice already, so thank you for that. So
Yeah.
two final questions right here. All right. What would you tell people right now with the days remaining, just 18 days left? Why should they jump on this campaign today?
I think that this book has something for everyone. I think that first of all, it's a very personal project. It's something that it's relevant because it in this time this is something like a topic that I love like addressing and everything, like in this time about people talking about their mental health and their need for money and like being obsessive with getting money. taking this step into creation can be hard, but it also with all anxiety and everything, people get this idea that they are going to get better. So this is a book about life changing decisions, like moving from one thing to another, and it will talk about both aspects. It's going to talk about the good stuff and also about the bad stuff. It's not going to be like we're talking about mental health, so everything is going to be sad and dark and all about that. Not really,
Yeah,
but it doesn't go the other way around too. It's not all happiness.
of
So
course.
you have that side, like the human side, like life changing decisions, mental health, and all of that put into this book. Um, and it's a very personal story, so I try to like show it in the most uh, honest way.
Authentic.
And
Get
that is
bring the
like, yeah,
authenticity to it.
yeah, exactly. And that is something that it's good if you like that stuff, if you like these topics, but I also mixed it with the fun of the superheroes and the action and the fight. So on a deeper level, it's about the human experience, about making big decisions, not necessarily going into comics, like changing your career into comics, but becoming a creative or taking a big step in life, moving like something that when you start thinking, oh, when I do this, I'm going to be happy, and this is about that kind of decision, and it will tell you, yeah, you may be happy, but consider all of this stuff too, and it's something that, as I mentioned, it's a universal experience. I think that everyone that has taken this type of decisions or is planning to will at least find this book inspiring or like a cautionary tale, so it can work both ways. So that is on a deeper level, but on the surface this book is about the quest of a creator that is looking for an idea. It's a quest of a character that is looking for an object, and that object will help him achieve his goals. So something fun, something fantastic is going to have fun, action, and adventure. So I think this is a good mix between the like an honest lesson, like something that is it gets deep and you start thinking about it, is thought provoking and maybe it's a bit dense, but also you have the fun of the heroes and that is stuff that we love about comic books. So I think it's a great mix, and if you're planning on getting a book or something, you can give this book a chance because it has something for everyone in
Wonderful.
there. And I just want to highlight that this book is a one shot. It's a 32-page one shot,
Oh, nice.
so that's also good because you start here with the story ends here, and you get a complete story. You don't need to wait for more
Hey.
campaigns, or you need to wait like 1 year for part two. This is like the one shot, and it's going to tell the whole story.
Wonderful, wonderful. And
Mhm.
are you going to be doing any conventions, since we were talking about them, anytime soon where we could meet you in person?
Yeah, well, I'm not like a pro yet, so I don't have like
Okay.
a conventions as a pro. Hopefully I'll get there next year. But this
Okay.
year I'm going to San Diego, uh, and I'm going to be there as a fan, also to
Excellent.
keep learning. I want to still meet creators, talk to them about my projects, talk about. As I said, it's important to talk to people, so I like to go to conventions and talk to creators, show them, look, this is what I'm been working on. What do you
Yeah,
think? And then also buy stuff, like support other creators, because there's a lot of
absolutely.
excellent books out there. And when you start reading other books, like I said, you can read like Spider-Man and Batman, but when you go and read the indie books, the books like mine that are being done with crowdfunding campaigns, you
Yes.
see like what your peers are doing, and you can get inspired because of their stories. You see, oh, this works, it doesn't work, and it's helpful. It's helpful to be in touch with other creators. I think that's the most important aspect of creating comic books besides the technical stuff. It's like talk to creators, talk to people in the industry,
Mm.
and get that feedback. And also if you can give feedback to others.
Be kind to others. Do unto others, folks. There we go. Oscar, you have been an amazing guest. I've been showing this off, folks, nonstop. You can follow the big homie here, and get into the vibe. You see how positive he is. This is what independent comics is about, man. You see, this is a worldwide affair, baby. He's telling you this from Peru. You know what I mean? Look at the positivity and wonderful encouragement there about creation. I'm digging it. So follow the big homie on Twitter and Instagram at Oscar OM29. But most importantly, the link is below. Go to Zoop right now and support a never-ending adventure. All right? Right now, it's live. 18 days to go, folks. 25 supporters. A salute to those 25 people that believe in the project. Let's get another 2,500 more to support the project, all right? And get this going. That's what's popping. Oscar, again, thank you for your time. Everybody,
thank you so much.
Absolutely, because what we do, man. Latinos Unidos, baby, as well, because I love it. I love meeting other Latino creators as well in business. I love talking to everybody, but it's always a special place in my heart when I'm able to talk to someone. That's one of my own, and seeing how they navigate. And I have never had the opportunity to see this one, directly from Peru, and how they do comics. So thank you for the education as well. I appreciate you, my brother. And anybody else, again, thank you for tuning in. Follow and subscribe to Comic Crusaders. You know what it is. Turn on to notifications. My extended family over at undercovercapes.com. We have dope shows like Twin Crusade, No Prize Podcast, Outside the Panels, and a whole lot more. Hasta la próxima, mi gente. I'm out mega. Wepa! Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.